Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You can be listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year. Very proud of that. Brought to you by the wonderful folks at Mission Fed Credit Union for 60-plus years doing phenomenal things in our community, whether it's dealing with food insecurity, the homeless, Alzheimer's, the arts, financial literacy. If there's a major cause, you know they're going to be with you shoulder to shoulder. Honored to have in the studio with us today friends from Junior Achievement. Got Madeline Bowen, she's the Director of Workforce and Education Initiatives, and Christian Rincon, a JA Fellows alumni. How you doing, Madeline and Christian?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Full disclosure to my audience, I've been a proud JA board member for a long time. And it's been a great ride, and hopefully they'll keep me on for quite a while doing this. And anyone who's spent any time with Junior Achievement knows the amazing work they do in our community throughout the country and around the world. Honored to have as my guest co-host Ella Dillon. She'll be an incoming sophomore at NYU. She is doing a curiosity ship. We don't call them internships at Cloudcast Media. We call them curiosity ships. And she has a question for you, Madeline, right out of the gate.
Yeah, what is the mission of your organization?
Yeah, so Junior Achievement is actually a global organization. We've been around for about 100 years, but here in San Diego, we have been here just over 75 years. And the mission is really to empower young people to economic success. And we do that not only through education, but through experiential learning opportunities centered around our three pillars, which are financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and work readiness. And our goal is really to expose young people to different opportunities, bring them connections, and really just give them confidence to pursue whatever career path they want to.
So you've been with JA now for 4 years, right? Did you go through JA as a student?
I did not go through Junior Achievement as a student, but I've been around it for a couple of years now, got to see a lot of the programs. Very
good. Before we turn it over to a Christian, talk about the JA Fellows Program. What's that about?
Yeah, so one of our newer programs locally developed here in San Diego is our Junior Achievement Fellows program. And that program is a extensive work readiness program where students go through a lot of curriculum in the classroom. But beyond just curriculum, they really build a lot of experiences around workforce development and work readiness. And so that looks like building social capital through mentorship and networking opportunities, learning transferable skills that are good in any career they want to pursue, and really career exploration, helping them see different career paths that they might not know exist in high growth and high wage careers. That leads into a paid work-based learning experience where they get to put all of those skills in action.
So Christian, how did you find out about JA Fellows?
So I found out about JA Fellows through my school.
What school is that?
Sorry, CVLCC abbreviates Chula Vista Learning Community Charter.
Yeah.
High school.
Yeah.
Through my school, they were offering it because I was a sophomore. It was second semester. And all of a sudden they told us about this new program called Junior Achievement Fellows. And they were offering applications for it. So I applied for it, and they got back to me throughout summer. And I was part of the program. And then so in the first semester, we started doing the classes with JA Fellows, introducing to what the program was. And then, the adventure started.
So talk about the adventure.
So Junior Achievement Fellows focused more on first financial literacy, and then as well as networking. So they brought in companies, major companies like Deloitte or Illumina, and they basically had career panels so that we can ask questions, but also give their experiences. It's basically more giving us an insight of their journey, which is pretty cool, and also helped us achieve that state of mind of what career do we want to do and where do we want to go. And that was pretty enlightening. Me personally, I really enjoyed networking with them. networking with like all these like professionals, because that's what JA fellow like Madeline encouraged, to open the LinkedIn, make it more professional. And like if you were applying for an internship, which by the way, foreshadowing, we actually did internships in the later summer. And yeah, it was pretty interesting.
So, I'm so glad you brought the word networking. We talk about this all the time with students who don't think that it's a valuable skill set. It is the most valuable skill set. Because in this, world that is absolutely every 5 seconds, I think communications quadruples. I don't know what the number is these days over here. You need to have that relationship, okay, a personal relationship. And I know it's a different world than I lived in. There was no internet, of course. There was no social media. It was like there were no answering machines when I was a kid your age. So if someone called and no one picked up, it just would ring until someone picked it up or threw the phone out the window and all that business. Now, in your world, and probably yours, Madeline, to an extent, definitely Stella's as well, it's all, not all, but much of it, not face-to-face. Talk about how important networking is to you and what you would do to encourage other folks your age that this is the real deal.
No, yeah. Networking is actually really, really important, because not only you get like information about like their careers or how they did it, so that you can also like do and what not to do, but also it's important to have like the whole roster of connections, because they might need you or you might need them in the future, and it's really, really important for like your career options. I'm trying to think of an example right now, but like, yeah, for example, like if you want to either like apply for scholarships or like in the future apply for internships or jobs, like it's important to like already have these connections in mind and in your contacts. That way you can like communicate with them, and both parties both parties benefit, because one, you get the internship, and the other side, they get interns and potential like new employees. So it's just important to have like this networking in mind.
Yeah, we're chatting with Christian Rincon. He is a JA Fellows alumni, joined by his colleague Madeline Bowen, Director of Workforce and Education Initiatives for Junior Achievement. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show. We're the nation's longest running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, joined by my very cool guest co-host, Stella Dillon. She's doing a curiosity ship for Cloudcast Media, incoming sophomore at NYU. I got to tell you, and I don't think you've met him, Madeline, because I think this is the first time you've been on the Spotlight show, but a lot of your colleagues have been on, of course. The all-time greatest networker at a young age is one of our producers, Brandon Joe. Brandon came to us because he was just doing some research at UCSD, and one of their famous alumni is the inimitable Neville Villamoria, who works very closely with Catalina Duarte, who's one of our top-notch folks at Mission Fed, helps us with our Spotlight show. And he said, why don't you come on the show? Brandon absolutely embraced it as a 20-year-old like you've never seen. And since then, he's now, he's in China right now, actually. But, and everybody who came on the show, he networked with. And I'm telling you, every single person. So you're doing a great job on that, Christian. Madeline, how tough is it for some of the younger folks to network? Do they think it's hard for them because they're young? Talk about it.
Yeah, I think networking is absolutely a skill that is learned, and it is definitely something that we focus on at Junior Achievement. Learning even the ways of how do you present yourself and how do you showcase who you are and what you want to do is huge, and it's something that you really have to learn how to talk about your personal brand, and that's something that we really help the students learn how to do. But overall, I think the students that we work with, the young people that we work with, they have the talent, they have the potential. It's just helping them learn how to showcase that and how to have access to those opportunities and those professionals that they can network in, that are in careers that they might not even know exist, and they don't know professionals personally that they can talk to about this.
Yeah, and again, just going to have to absolutely say that is 100% correct. Christian, we love meeting with the younger folks. We embrace meeting with the younger folks. They may not like embracing with us, but we like with them. And you never know where it's going to end up. And it works, because then if somebody has an opening, do you know anyone, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I just interviewed this Christian Rincon. He was really interested in X, Y, and Z. Oh, okay. Well, then if you know him and you vouch for him, I'm going to talk to him. Versus you're going to be one of 25,000 applicants in that area there. Stella, you got a question for Madeline?
Yeah, could you talk about economic mobility?
Yeah, economic mobility is really the core of the work that we do here at Junior Achievement San Diego. And I think a big part about economic mobility, again, it's not just education and teaching the information, but it is really the connection to social capital, the exploring careers that, again, students might not know are out there, and really building the confidence so they know that they belong in those spaces that they might want to pursue. And so, again, economic mobility is really the core of what we do, and the goal is that every student has the choices and the opportunities and the access to pursue those careers and the lifestyle that they want to have.
Yeah, I really want to add in on this, and I'm not sure if you did a lot of that, Stella, in your freshman year, but do they work with you at NYU on, hey, here's some opportunities, here's some pathways, or not quite there yet?
Well, I'm on the varsity volleyball team at NYU, so we have a lot of athlete networking events. They really put a huge emphasis on that because there's a lot of successful alumni from the NYU volleyball program. So I have done a lot of that. They also do push it just for the normal students a lot, especially within the economics program in finance.
Yeah, and it's so critical, and in this day and age, it's really, one, you got to be good at what you do. There's no question about that. But it is also who you know and what are the connections there. JA is the poster child for that, obviously, because of its connections, 100-plus years, and it's a ton here in San Diego, and I think that's great. When we come back from break, Christian, I want to chat with you about what is the one thing you've learned most about the Fellows Program that you were surprised to learn, okay? Or what skill set have you ramped up since you've been involved with the Fellows Program on that? And when we come back, Madeline, also think about, how can our listeners continue to support the great work of JA, whether it's with workforce development or who knows what it is. When we return with Madeline Bowen, Director of Workforce and Education Initiatives for Junior Achievement, joined by Christian Rincon, JA Fellows alumni. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We'll be right back after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media. Listen to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 60 plus years of doing great things in the community. Always a great day when our friends from Junior Achievement are in the house. Madeline Bowen, Director of Workforce Education Initiatives, joined by her colleague Christian Rincon, a JA's Fellows alumni. I've been pleased to have as my guest co-host today, Stella Dillon, doing a curiosity ship with Cloudcast Media. She'll be an incoming sophomore at NYU, and is on the volleyball team there as well. So, Christian, before break, we were just talking about what did you learn the most about your fellowship, and what do you think you've improved on whatever skill set it is? Boy, I was doing this. Man, I think I really nailed it here.
Well, there are actually many things I've learned, but like I'll give it like my top two.
Please.
No, number one is like networking, of course. To always, whenever like a professional is talking and like you find something interesting, always ask them questions and always ask them for their contacts, LinkedIn especially, because then, you know, as I said, you will get this like connections in the future and it will benefit you. Also, another important thing that I learned from JA Fellows is that like programs such as like Fellows, it's like very important to have because they support you along the way. So like, for example, JA Fellows did a very good job helping me, supporting me in what I wanted to do in careers, what job or what path I wanted to take and how to take it. So when it comes to like these programs, they also encourage me to take on to more programs. For example, at USD, they were giving out, sorry, I don't know if I introduced it, but I'm at the University of San Diego, incoming sophomore as well. And basically at USD, they also give out like these programs, especially like for first generation or low income students. And since like JA Fellows, I got this wonderful experience. I thought, well, it encouraged me to like to take on to do more programs. So now I'm doing like undergraduate research. I've been doing it for like the last year, and I'm still continuing it in summer, and I'm going to continue it for the following year as well. And so it's really interesting because I've been researching about physics and all that, and this like really curiosity of STEM came from Junior Achievement Fellows because they encouraged me to like look more into like the STEM field, but also the finance, because I also want to minor in finance. And so like this thought process of like what I wanted to be came from Junior Achievement. And so without them, I'd probably be like less organized than now.
Yeah, and that's great. Madeline, you probably hear these stories all the time, right? And you can never hear enough of these areas. From your perspective, you know, from where you sit and you look at all this as the Director of Workforce and Education Initiatives, what has amazed you most about what you've seen what these fellows have done?
Yeah, absolutely. I for sure never get tired of hearing the stories and getting to see the growth of these young people from the moment they start the Fellows program to now, where they are in college and starting to explore their career and really get started in that. I am always amazed by just the growth that I see in even 6 months or a year. And I think one of the biggest outcomes, of course, they are learning these transferable skills, but one of the biggest things is just their confidence in where they want to go. A lot of the young people come in not really sure where they are wanting to pursue or even know what their skill set is or how to convey what that skill set is. And so by the time they finish the program, the confidence that they have of leaving their work experience, they're leaving these big companies like Mission Fed, Deloitte, Illumina, and they feel confident in that, and they really see their spot at those companies, and the confidence to pursue that career, I think, is the most impactful thing for me.
Well, and I think, you know, obviously hearing it from Christian's voice on this, and I'm a little prejudiced because my background is journalism and communication. Obviously, that's what I do now, is that is going to be a skill that is going to be so important, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, keep on going in this aspect of it, is the ability to communicate to community effectively, and we can't do enough of that. And I think, obviously, you feel really, really good about that. Stella, what other questions do you have for Madeline?
What would you say are the most significant challenges today for those you serve?
Yeah, I think a big challenge for those we serve, again, is not the lack of talent or the lack of potential, but it's really the lack of access to these opportunities. And so that is really what we are trying to do at JA San Diego, is really to connect and fill in that gap between education and industry, what they're learning in the classroom to how that relates to what they want to do in the future, and how they can build those connections and understand that pathway. So a lot of the work we do, as mentioned, is really building those connections and that social capital, allowing young people to have those opportunities where they get to put their talent into the workforce and actually produce real work at companies during the summer as they are in their work-based learning experiences. And I think that, again, is one of the biggest challenges, is really, again, the lack of lack of opportunity, lack of exposure, being able to explore careers that they didn't know existed, and even more so didn't know someone in that career and didn't understand that pathway to get there. And so really bridging that accessibility gap between those opportunities.
You know, one of the things, again, I'm a little prejudiced with JA, haven't been on the board for a million years, as you know, Madeline, that you do such a great job, and I want you to address this, and maybe a Christian can add to it, is that you guys are totally laser beamed on what the jobs look like now and what they may look like in the future, and they may be one and the same, and maybe very, very different. Talk about your work with groups like Workforce Partnership and the EDC and the Chamber. These are the jobs that are here now. We're not quite sure where they're going to be in 5 years from now.
Definitely, yeah. I think that's a big part of workforce development and really ensuring that talent pipeline is secure. I think that really starts in not when you're being hired, but really in the classroom and really that early exposure, which the future leaders, the future talent that we need are really in the classroom right now. And so that's really what we are aiming to do, is to prepare the young people who are going to be in those positions in 5-10 years. And it might not be those technical skills, because as you mentioned, that might change, but it's really those transferable skills, those skills that are going to be important no matter where they end up, and I'm sure are going to be important for 10, 20, 30 years in the future. And those are those communication, teamwork, problem solving, critical thinking skills that really will enhance the workplace wherever they end up. And we recently worked with the San Diego Regional EDC to do a study on the impact of internships with our students and other students. And what was found is it's not just impactful for the students, but it really is impactful for these employers, for the business. Them being able to have young people in the building and see those new ideas, see the ways that they are able to create and innovate is huge. And it really does enhance the culture in the business, but it also really does enhance their workforce. They're able to see the talent that is coming up and really fill those gaps that are going to be coming up in 5-10 years, just like Christian in a few years will be entering that.
Well, there's no question about it. And we always said when adults get out of the way and let the young folks do what they're doing, then we'll be in a better shape in this aspect of it. I'm a big believer in that as well. Maybe give a little guidance and then step out in this area of that. So Christian, talk a little bit about what profession at this point of your life, your incoming sophomore, could change when you're halfway through your sophomore year, for God's sake. What are you interested in? What profession?
So right now, at this very moment, I'm interested in mechanical engineering, with like minor in finance. Though I feel like throughout my experience, especially in the second semester of my freshman year, and then now, it's been pretty hard because I'm so used to more on back in my school, in the high school, it was more about world history. It was more philosophy, humanities type thing. But I'm so interested in the science. And so going into the science is actually really, really difficult now. And so it's still pretty interesting either way. But now I'm going to look, do I still want to do this in the future, or do I want to go somewhere else? And well, now I'm also deciding between mechanical engineering, majoring in that, or majoring in finance. And I have finance in mind because of my actual other internship I did with J Fellows at Deloitte, which was exactly a year ago. And it really interested me about accounting and all of economic side. And I thought about it, well, since I have J Fellows and I did a lot of networking regarding finance, it's a very good plan B for me to major in finance. So that's something I have in mind right now, and I probably will enact it in the next following semester.
Well, what's great about this, you're looking at beginning with the end in mind to some extent in this area that Steve Covey always talks about, 7 habits of effective leaders and all that business, which is great. So I'll start with you on this, Christian, then pivot over to Madeline on this. I'm going to put you on the spot now. Now you're going to be the spokesperson for JA Fellows, okay? Now you're addressing a whole bunch of folks that look like you. What do you say about the program and why they should get engaged with it?
The program is really, really helpful, especially for first generation students as well as low income. It's really helpful because many don't have the opportunity, or maybe don't have the people around them to help them along the way when it comes to careers. So I believe J Fellows gives a good opportunity for these students, and it basically gives them the ability to to gain the leadership skills and to gain all these networking skills, because as a person, from me, I come from that's the first generation background, and as well as I'm a very shy person. So like, for example, right now, it's kind of like nerve-wracking to me.
You're doing great. Are you kidding me? Natural, very natural.
Thank you so much. And like, thanks to JA Fellows, I learned more of the leadership skills, more to be confident and to like make a brand, you know, and not sell yourself, but like somewhat to like,
you can sell yourself. There's nothing wrong with that.
To like professionals, and to have sorry, lost my train of thought again.
Yeah, well, no, but first of all, you're spot on that, and you can tell in your voice. You're very confident in your voice. You're a great communicator in this aspect of it. That's gonna go a long way with you. Actually, you're gonna really enjoy it when you hear the audio of this. You've done a great job on that. So kudos to you for doing this. Not always easy to get in front of a mic in this aspect of it. So Madeline, what can our listeners do? We've been doing this for 20 years now, and they've certainly heard about JA for quite a while. What else can we do to support your efforts?
Yeah, so I think what makes Junior Achievement unique is that we really recognize that it is a group effort. It's really a team effort when we talk about economic mobility and workforce development. We really stand at the bridge between education and industry, and we need everyone on board to create these opportunities for young people. And so whether that is joining through hosting students for the summer for a paid work-based learning experience, whether that is mentoring high school students along the way, really just providing the insight and the opportunity to come together and really build this collaboration as a community, because again, it's not just good for these students individually, but it really is good for San Diego economy as a whole. So I think it's really coming together as a community and uniting again around this work.
Well, listen, I tell you right now, if you it doesn't make a difference how big your business is. You can have as big as SDG&E and Qualcomm, and certainly we'll welcome that to JA, or you can be a 5-person vacuum repair shop. Doesn't matter. Giving those kids those opportunities to be entrepreneurial, to learn about the world of work, doesn't make a difference in that aspect of it. Madeline, it's good seeing you. Thank you for your great work at JA. And Christian, I say this quite a bit on our show, but we can say we knew you when, okay? When you become the CEO of your own company and you're killing it down the road, and congratulations on the great work you've done at JA Fellows, and just nothing but great success at USD.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, JA Fellows is a really amazing program. Without them, I don't know where I would be, to be honest. Like also financially, they helped me financially, and also personally, as well as giving me that academic and mental growth as well. So I really thank the program, you know. Many people participate in it, and like helps the program like succeed, because I want to see the future generation have the same chances as me, because it's a privilege to have like this program given to like these students, especially with their background. So honestly, yeah.
Yeah, and everybody should have that access, as Madeline said. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You've been listening to another edition of the Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest running community podcast. Thank you to Madeline and Christian representing Junior Achievement, my guest co-host Stella Dillon, once again killing it as her first foray into guest co-hosting on a podcast. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.